The Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker walked beside his friend Chancellor Palpatine. Palpatine, in a cunning move, asked Anakin to be his representative on the Jedi Council, knowing they would not be happy with his request. Anakin is honoured by his new position. It would surely mean that he would become a Jedi Master. Anakin's expectations would soon be deflated as he stood in front of the Jedi Council. Anakin could not hold his emotions any longer and became outraged at the Council's decision to allow him to be on the Council but not be granted the rank of Master. Following his outburst, Master Windu asked Anakin to take a seat, gesturing to the empty chair, in an attempt to diffuse the tension and assert his authority. But what if Windu had not told Anakin to take a seat? How would this seemingly minor action alter the fate of the galaxy? All of that will be answered. After Anakin finishes his outburst, Mace Windu pauses and quietly converses with Grandmaster Yoda. As Anakin continues to stand, his anger intensifies, and unable to hold it any longer, he lets out a burst of force energy, knocking all of the present council members off of their chairs. Windu's lightsaber ignites, with his eyes staring to Anakin's, which are flickering yellow. Obi-Wan is pleading with Anakin to stop, but this falls upon deaf ears, as Anakin is consumed by his newfound powers. Yoda sighs and raises his hand, using the force to move Anakin's arms behind his back, and summoning 2 Jedi Sentinels to cuff Anakin, who take him to a holding cell. Unnoticed by any of the council members, Obi-Wan whispered quietly into his comlink, clearly asking for something. The meeting then proceeds as normal, with Yoda deciding that he should go to Kashyyyk to help the Wookiees. After the meeting, Obi-Wan visits Anakin in his cell, asking him why he gave in to his anger. Anakin looks downwards in shame and apologises to his master, as Obi-Wan reminds him of what an accomplishment it was to be a council member at such a young age, and how proud he was of his former Padawan. Suddenly, Anakin detects a familiar presence in the Force, and raising his head, he sees his former Padawan Ahsoka Tano looking tired, standing there with her arms crossed and an annoyed look on her face, having left Captain Rex and the 501st to clean up the mess on Mandalore. Anakin is in shock, but it quickly turns to shame as he realises what he has done. Anakin is released from his cell, and the trio make their way to the council chambers again, where Anakin apologises to his fellow council members, trying hard to avoid the stare of Windu. Before departing for Kashyyyk, it is Yoda instead of Obi-Wan who lets Anakin know that the council want him to spy on Chancellor Palpatine. But instead of using Obi-Wan's approach, Yoda is less brash, asking Anakin about his feelings towards the Chancellor, and the dark side of the Force possibly surrounding him. Anakin agrees to spy on Palpatine more readily than if Obi-Wan had asked him to do so, as Anakin was more willing to confide in Yoda, having done so with regards to his nightmares about Padme. Anakin meets with Chancellor Palpatine in the galaxy's Opera House, where Palpatine recalls the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and how Plagueis had the power to save others from dying. Anakin is intrigued, but not as much, as he's not as disgusted with the Council. The Council meets again to decide who should fight Grievous, and although Anakin mentions that Palpatine requested for him to go, he's happy with Obi-Wan going, as he knows his former master is better suited to fight Grievous. As Obi-Wan leaves for Utapau to confront Grievous, Anakin, this time with Ahsoka, go to meet with Palpatine to inform him of the Grievous situation, as she insists on tagging along, having heard from Rex the Mandalore had been retaken. Palpatine is annoyed at seeing the Togruta, as this was not a part of his plan, but hides it with one of his trademark devious Force smiles. Palpatine begins to seduce Anakin to the dark side of the Force, with the promise of the knowledge which could save Padme, much to Ahsoka's shock. Anakin, upon finding out Palpatine was a Sith Lord, ignited his lightsaber, pointing it to the Sith Lord's throat. The Sith Lord, being a master of manipulation, encourages Anakin to kill him and expose him to the Jedi Council, causing Anakin to deactivate his lightsaber. Ahsoka acts on instinct, and she ignites her own 2 blades, and foolishly thrusts them towards Palpatine before Anakin could stop her. Palpatine sends a bolt of Force lightning at the Togruta, which she can only partially deflect with her blades, as she is sent flying across the room, stopping short of the wall. Palpatine knew this was his time to reveal his true identity. Igniting his crimson red blades from his cloak, he made his way swiftly towards a dazed Ahsoka, with Anakin following closely, looking conflicted about what he should do. Palpatine raised his blades at Ahsoka, ready to make the killing blow. All of a sudden, Palpatine was propelled back towards his desk, stopping short of the window. Ahsoka tentatively opened her eyes, after realising she was not dead. Springing to her feet, she was annoyed at herself for her recklessness, but she refused to lose Anakin to the dark side. Anakin himself had ignited his own blade, the sight of Ahsoka in pain awakening him from his state of near hallucination. He had promised he would never let anyone hurt Ahsoka. Looking around from Ahsoka to the desk of Palpatine, he finds his former friend, now enemy, has disappeared. With the window open, there was only one way the Sith Lord could have gone. Leaping out of the window into the night of Coruscant, Ahsoka rushes to the ledge, watching as Anakin leapt onto a passing speeder. Knowing she wouldn't be able to catch up to her master, Ahsoka runs out of the Chancellor's suite, heading for the Jedi Temple. However, once she stepped outside of the Republic's executive building, she felt something gravely wrong. Clutching her head, she sensed her master's presence, still there, but fading. Continuing to move, from a side street, she heard the sound of a clone trooper ordering others to terminate her. Instinctively, Ahsoka ignites her blades, deflecting the blaster bolts heading her way. Ahsoka is utterly shocked at those whom she had fought alongside turning against her, yet manages to reach the Jedi Temple. She had hoped those were merely defective, for Rex's sake. Reaching the stairs of the Jedi Temple, Ahsoka's last memory of leaving the Jedi and Anakin made the sight in front of her even more painful. Already scattered across the floor were dozens of Jedi Knights and younglings, their lightsabers beside them. Further along, she saw Master Windu leading the defense, and rushed to join him, despite her dislike for him. Windu does not even acknowledge Ahsoka's presence, decapitating a whole line of clone troopers in the blink of an eye. Seeing that Windu was holding his own, Ahsoka went up a group of familiar initiates that she had previously escorted to Ilum. They are delighted to see Ahsoka, as agreed to helping to block the council chambers. Nonetheless, the clones are relentless, increasing in their numbers, forcing Ahsoka to back away behind a pillar. Suddenly, a green blur appeared from thin air, instantly pushing 3 waves of clone troopers behind pillars. Grandmaster Yoda returned from Kashyyyk. Ahsoka shepherds the initiates and the hiding younglings to a more hidden area of the Jedi Temple, and went back to try and assist Yoda. But Yoda pushed her away, telling her to go for Anakin with the returning Obi-Wan, who managed to escape from Utapau, leaving the temple defences to the remaining masters. Ahsoka uses force speed to get to the Jedi Temple hangar, and sees Obi-Wan waiting for her. Jumping on top of his starfighter, they head for the 500 Republica, the residential town of the rich and wealthy, aiming to land by the apartment of Padme Amidala. On top of the starfighter, Ahsoka defends for any incoming cannon fire, but she can do nothing to stop a torpedo hitting the side of the ship. Obi-Wan immediately ejects from the ship, and Ahsoka follows suit, both jumping into a small hole in the floor, which turned out to be a sewage network. With no way back up, they began navigating their way through the tunnels, using their lightsabers to light up the area, beginning to hear the humming of a power generator. Heading towards the sound, they're surprised to not see some kind of door, so use their lightsabers to dissolve the wall. Walking through the created orifice, they step into a room full of surveillance cameras. Observing several of them, they are horrified to find some situated in the Jedi Temple, and the homes of notable political representatives. It doesn't take them long to locate Padme's apartment, and the sight of Anakin and Padme tied to a wall. Heading up through the interior hatch, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka encounter 2 clones on patrol duty. Taking them out in silence, they grab their ascension cables, which prove to be useful just moments later. The usual turbo lift scaling the side of the building is inevitably broken, shot to pieces by the clone troopers. Climbing their way up, they reach the veranda to Padme's apartment, where a speeder was parked. Managing to find their way in, they appear to be alone, and untie Anakin and Padme from the wall, who then slump to the floor. But they soon find they're not alone. An evil mirth echoes through the entire building, sending shivers down their spines. Passing Anakin one of her lightsabers, Ahsoka heads down to a nearby medical facility with a heavily pregnant Padme, simultaneously calling the Jedi Temple. This was not her fight. Back in Padme's apartment, Anakin was not stunned to find Sidious unlike Obi-Wan. How could a seemingly benevolent man be the root of all evil? He had no time to think, as Sidious's blades moved in a haze towards him. If he had thought he was deflecting 20 of Grievous's blades at once, this appeared to be twice the number. Luckily he had Anakin on hand to aid his already fatigued body. Anakin took over from his master, his anger at seeing Padme captured fueling his attacks. Sidious laughed at Anakin, continuing to encourage him to use his hate. Anakin, however, ignored the Sith Lord, as his hate was what caused him to be captured in the first place. Anakin's eyes merely flickered, no more, no less, perfectly balancing the light and dark, matching the Sith Lord's strike for strike. Sidious was growing slightly concerned. The fight should have already been dealt with. Deactivating one of his blades, he pushed the struggling Obi-Wan over the side of the veranda, leaving him hanging on by his fingernails and his lightsaber tumbling to the streets below. Anakin howled at his master's close shave, allowing Sidious to graze his shoulder. Anakin staggered backwards. All of a sudden, the apartment was bathed in a white glow, as from the outside, a speeder emerged carrying Windu and Yoda. The Jedi leapt outside, helping Obi-Wan to his feet and giving him his fallen blade. Anakin would need to thank Ahsoka later. Dismissing his shoulder pain, the 4 Jedi encircled the Sith Lord. There was nowhere to run or move. Sidious attempted to create a hole for his escape, punching the ground with his lightsabers, but it was no use. The Jedi had dismembered him into pieces. With the loss of adrenaline, Anakin's pain in his shoulder returned to him, and the Jedi escorted him to the medical facility. Patched up with bandages, Anakin was finally seated next to the bed of Padme. Looking from the entrance of the ward, Mace Windu could not deny Anakin the rank of Master anymore. That is it for what if Mace Windu never told Anakin to take a seat. If you enjoyed this, please like this video, and if you're new to this channel and my other channel, subscribe for more tips. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.